What's up, guys? What's going on? Dirt will be here momentarily. I went ahead and just launched a little early. First off, this is the new time, 5:30. The reason we're going at 5:30 is because I do feel like Dirt was doing a little too much. Like, he would literally come home from work and come straight into the show. So, me being, as easy as I can on my co-host, I was like, look, man, take your 30 minutes, get going, and then we'll start the show. You don't gotta come straight off the streets to the podcast, man. You don't gotta come straight off the streets to the podcast. So 5:30, that way, when he gets home, because he was literally coming home and pretty much going straight to his computer every week. Your boy didn't know that. Your boy had to change that. I ain't trying to be issues with people, man. I'm trying to elevate, not push people down. So that's why we're doing it 5:30 now. 30 minutes, I think I'll probably pop in occasionally to do a little bit of like a kind of like a fun pre-show, but that's the new thing. We going to make sure Dirt's taken care of. He needs that 30 minutes to himself, man. I'm a lot to handle as it is, so I can't imagine how he was handling like the moment he got off work. What's going on, Dirt?
How do I sound?
You sound perfect.
Cool.
So we got a lot. We got a lot to talk about today, Dirt. I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure you've
man.
seen the Redfall stuff.
Of course
Yeah,
I have.
we're definitely going to talk about that. So let's go ahead and get on. What's going on, you guys? Appreciate everyone coming through the Addict Show. We talk about the past, present, future game. I got my co-host with me, Dirt Griggity. What's going on, Dirt Griggity?
What is up, everybody? Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah. So today we have a pretty lively show for you guys. You know, we got a little sprinkle, a little bit of funness. We got PlayStation can't survive without COD. That's not my words. That's they words. We got Joseph Staten leaving Xbox and Microsoft in general after he did his, Halo Infinite jump out of the company to another company thing. And we got Redfall coming in hot at 30 frames a second. First, huh?
I said, oh,
Yeah.
Redfall.
Yeah, so first thing we're gonna talk about is what you've been playing, Dirt. You know, I don't care. Some people literally don't like us talking about what we've been playing. To this day, I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I recently finished Resident Evil 4 Remake. Loved it. You know, I mentioned before how I never did finish the original one on PS2. Like, once it came to the PS2, never finished it. Loved it. It was a great game. But I recently just started Ghostwire Tokyo, so I'm right at the beginning. So yeah, I just started that one. But that's about it, bro.
Yeah, I hear you. Ghostwire Tokyo. I still ain't really jumped into it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a bad game, but what I've seen in like the infrastructure of the game, it doesn't seem like something that I would enjoy. But what I can say is I really enjoyed Hi-Fi Rush. So just the success of Hi-Fi Rush and how much I enjoyed that makes me even want to go back and try something as different as Ghostwire Tokyo. Even though that I look at that, nothing about Ghostwire Tokyo is appealing to me. The success that they had, because I liked Evil Within, but I didn't beat either one of them.
Yeah, I love both of them.
But I did like the games. I like the concept of the games. I think that's the reason like Ghostwire like disconnects from me a little bit, is because I want Xbox to have their own Resident Evil vein. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the Evil Within was a good solid first jump out the window at that.
Absolutely, it was.
I feel like the studio can do something to that caliber.
And listen, I thought Evil Within 2 was absolutely incredible. And people just slept on it. It just didn't sell well. And it's unfortunate because it was a really good game. I hope they go back to the franchise, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they will too. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind closed doors. You know what's funny is I had someone leak me a picture of Banjo-Kazooie. I actually sent you a picture of it. I sent that to my peoples, I call them my clarification peoples. Okay, people I send to that are in the know, and they all told me that is bullshit. Like,
okay,
it is fake as hell. Someone even like found it on the internet and sent it back to me. It was like, this is where it came from.
It kind of did look like the what was it? Notes and Bolts. It did look like a high res version of that. As far as Banjo, I say that kind of, but I say that's cool though. But yeah,
It is what it is. I personally think Banjo-Kazooie has a place in the Xbox ecosystem if it's brought back correctly and it's properly funded. But I get it. But first off, let's get the $5 super chat from Kraken Den Podcast. Kraken's Den Podcast. Wait a minute. The show in Dirt's ray tracing can run at 60 frames, but Redfall can't. Lord have mercy.
Hey, Joey, don't start it.
You know, I was thinking to go into my camera and find the settings for 30 frames and be like, we're in the Redfall show. But I didn't want to look in that. And to be honest with you, I changed too much on the settings. I actually need to really get familiar with this camera, because for people who don't know it, it looks like I have like a regular webcam. I don't. Like I have a DSL. I think that's what they call it. Like Sony A6400 camera with like a Stigma 14 millimeter or 12 millimeter lens. Like I have a very good camera. It's just I don't know how to work the thing. Like it might as well be a foreign language. Like I might as well be looking at Japanese because I don't know anything that's in the back. And maybe some YouTube videos, talk to some people that actually know what's going on. But anyway, let's get into the show, man. Let's get into the show.
Let's get into it, man.
PlayStation can't survive without COD. I'm sure you've seen the dilemma that's going on, where this is the new thing that PlayStation loves doing weekly, Dirt. You know what that is? Finding how weak they can look to the public that week and how weak they can look to all these regulation companies that's trying to approve this Call of Duty deal. So I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've seen where they said that, you know, kind of, I'm not going to be paraquoting, but they're pretty much like, look, you know, we as a company can't compete with Call of Duty, and our company, the PlayStation brand, would eventually crumble. That's pretty much what they said.
The words that he used exactly, we will not be able to recover.
Recover. You know, one would think that revolving around your whole brand around a brand that you don't own is kind of bad business practice. Wouldn't you agree, Dart?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me what you're thinking about this while I open the front door, because it's hot.
Okay, well, you know, I've done a couple videos about this. We've been talking about it the last few podcasts we've done, and listen, guys, you know how I feel. Well, if you don't know how I feel, maybe you don't listen to my channel. Maybe you're not subscribed to my channel. But let's be honest, guys. Jim Ryan said if the Xbox version is better than the PlayStation version of Call of Duty, they can't recover. Now, if you're a PlayStation first party developer, how does that make you feel? We understand, like Addict just said, we know the PlayStation is trying to make themselves seem weak for the regulators. They're trying to play the victim so they can, you know, get this deal blocked. But if you're Neil Druckmann, if you're Corey Barlog and all of those guys, and, you know, how does that make you guys feel? He's saying this third-party game, if they, like, okay, first he said if they lose it, they can't recover. Then he said if it goes into Game Pass, they can't recover. Now he's saying if Xbox version is better, they can't recover. How does that make their first party feel? I'm very curious about that.
I think it's one of those things.
Ridiculous.
I think it's one of those things where it's not necessarily they know they can't recover. I think they're talking like at the end of every year, we take that money that we make from COD, and that's a padding. And they, to their mind, if we lose that COD to a huge degree, it would change the landscape of our business. You know, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, which maybe not Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, Uncharted, I would consider these the foundation of PlayStation. But they got nice golden bars in the crib. I would say that's Call of Duty. They love spending money on stuff that's not theirs. And when you get this amount of money, and we're talking millions to billions of dollars that they're receiving from Call of Duty, it's easier to fund other projects when you can count on that money every year.
Right.
Now, maybe they're being sincere. Maybe they're like, look, like we've been able to take a lot of risks in the past because we can count on that Call of Duty money to, you know, replenish some of that money. But if it's gone, and that's exaggerating, obviously it wouldn't be gone, but if it has been severely damaged due to maybe a Microsoft deal in the future, they feel less comfortable that they can maintain what they've been doing throughout the years. That's the only way I can see it. That's the only way I can take it from the way that they've described it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but the latest round of Crying Jim Ryan, he specifically said if Xbox version is better. When he says better, what is he talking about? Higher resolution, a couple of frames better? What is he talking about?
I don't even think he knows what he's talking about, to be honest with you.
See, that's the point I'm making. Now, if Call of Duty being removed from PlayStation, absolutely, that will hurt them tremendously. Xbox getting the marketing deal, I do believe that will hurt them a little also. Not as much as Jim Ryan is making it seem it will hurt them, but it will definitely hurt them slightly because marketing is huge. And if Xbox start to drop some bundles with Call of Duty in there, Xbox Game Pass bundles, that will hurt PlayStation a little bit. Not as much as Jim Ryan is saying. So, I don't know, man.
Who knows? Maybe we are so ignorant to the situation because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Maybe they're serious. Like, look, like maybe they use more of that money than we actually think. Because if you think about it, we're just looking at like logistics of how much money they make off of the standard $60 things. Once that they're talking about from a monetary on Warzone. You know, we get an X amount of money every time someone buys a skin in Warzone. And if we start to strip that away, maybe they're talking about that. Maybe we are underestimating the amount of money that is made off of Call of Duty every year. And they are not joking when they say that. I think they're definitely, they're over exaggerating, but I don't think that the core root is exaggerated. I think that they're exaggerating what will happen, but I think that there is a significant amount of damage that can be done throughout the next 10 years by Xbox owning Call of Duty. And I think that's the whole point of Xbox going after this. They needed a big enough player to get people to go into Game Pass and stay in Game Pass. And I think that PlayStation sees the direction everything's going, and their concern is like, look, we think that if they have access to Call of Duty and they do this Game Pass thing, we think there's a chance throughout the next 10 years where they start draining our resources because they can get these Call of Duty people off the Xbox platform. Because let's be real here. Like, look at it from a consumer standpoint. Look at it from a person that just plays Call of Duty, because that's all they seem to care about is Call of Duty. And what's funny is people act like that number is small. That number is only usually 2 months out of the year and outsells everything the entire year. Imagine you start it's like Microsoft buys that and they put a hole in the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? Could be a small hole, but throughout the years, it just drains more and more and more. And then when you start having more and more of these casual people transferring from the older generation to the newer generation, they're like, yo, I can get Game Pass and I could just pay $15 and keep it for as long. Because most people will fall off of Call of Duty within 5 to 6 months after getting it. And they'll wait for the new one. You know, I can just pay 15, have all these other games. I think that is their primary concern, is they're going to slowly lose the market lead because of that Call of Duty thing. And for people that don't think that could be the case, let me ask you this. Every generation that has won, you can in some way, shape, or form trace that back to Call of Duty. 360. People can say what they want. PlayStation caught up. It was after it. You can't declare victory. That's like equivalent to doing a marathon. Number 1 stops and number 5 keeps running and he passes number 1. The race is over.
Right.
So, but get what did the 360 have? That whole generation, Dirt.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty marketing.
They marketed.
What did PlayStation 4 have that whole generation almost?
Call of Duty marketing started in 2015 till the present.
Yeah, and by then, even at 2015, they stopped marketing it on Xbox like that. Yeah, so it's just like, look, I do think they're exaggerating, but a part of me does understand their fear that they're going to lose that lead because of how powerful the Call of Duty voice is, how powerful the Call of Duty audience is, how powerful the people that play Call of Duty. Because we keep saying they want to get the casual audience. They want to get the casual audience. There is no bigger way to get the casual audience than Minecraft, 2K, Call of Duty, or Madden. They already own Minecraft, and now they're getting Call of Duty.
Thanks. The only thing I'm going to say, what you said, everything you said was great points. What I'm going to say, at the end of the day, Addict, PlayStation, depending on a third-party game being their bread and butter, is going to significantly hurt them. Because we've talked about Xbox in the past. Some of the games that they had, they depended on third-party to develop these games, and Xbox didn't own the IPs or like some of the IPs or the studios, and it came back to bite them when they cannot make a sequel to those games, or the developer get acquired by another, publisher or something. So PlayStation, depending on a third-party game, it hurts. That's like a smaller YouTuber having a couple of good months financially. Then all of a sudden he quit his real job and said, "Yeah,
we good at this stuff, man.
This is gonna be my bread and butter.
YouTuber.
I'm a full-time." Then all of a sudden his numbers go down. He has no control of it. There's nothing he can do.
They say if you want to be a full-time content creator, you should at least make 3 to 4 times what you're making currently.
Right, exactly.
Or at least to cover your bills and your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But that's my point. So when you're relying on something you really can't control, no matter how long it takes, it would eventually hurt you. Because we had examples with Xbox, Crackdown 3, the Cloud Gen team got bought up by another company. Xbox had no control over it. They said, damn, what are we going to do now? You know, like the same thing with Insomniac. No Sunset Overdrive 2 because they got bought up by Sony. So when you rely on something you don't own or something you have no control over there's always the chance it can come back and hurt you. And we're seeing now with PlayStation.
And it's like the biggest reason that I don't care realistically what PlayStation goes through from this Call of Duty thing is...
Yeah, a couple of super chats. Did you see it? I don't know if you saw the super chat.
I'm going to get them right after this. And let me see make sure none of them are relative to what we're talking about. We got a $5 super chat from the Nintendo Don Otaku. Yeah, he's changing his name sometimes. The only acceptable $70 game at 30 frames is Tears of the Kingdom. Scratch that. The only acceptable $70 game is Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, man.
You know, Tears, I think it's about to come out there and hit people in the gut. I really do. You know, we could talk about that momentarily here in a second. JD Gamer with the $5 super chat. We, people that like Xbox, need to stop following and promoting these false narratives of whatever the new why Xbox is trash nonsense. We're going to get to that. We got
JD
a little
Gamer
bit,
says
man.
He's tired of it.
We got a little bit to talk about. We're going to get to that. You know, I do want to... Okay, here, Don Otaku, I'll make you a deal. Tomorrow, they're going to be showing probably the last trailer for Zelda. So next week, we'll dedicate a whole topic to Zelda. Because I do think that's going to be a very key game. I don't think it's going to be like Breath of the Wild. I'm going to be real with you. But I do think it's going to be relevant. It's going to be extremely out there. I just don't know if it's going to have the same domino effect where people automatically assume that it's going to be Game of the Year because of the competition this year. That's my opinion on the matter. But let's go ahead and go straight into Joseph Staten. All right, so Joseph Staten, for those of you that don't know, he was in charge of Halo Infinite for a while. I don't think he was directly in charge, but he had a lot of movement there. He had a lot of, things that he could do there. And after Halo Infinite, keep in mind he came from the OG days, like Bungie days. Mm-hmm. He came back to try to get Halo back on track. Apparently, he reached out to Microsoft because he was working for HoloLens or something like that. But he went back to another department, and now he has officially left 343. And Microsoft in general.
Yeah, Microsoft, yeah.
So first thing I want to ask you, is that surprising to you? Do you think we should be concerned on Joseph Staten leaving?
No, because he left 343 earlier this year, or was that late last year?
I think it was late last year.
He left 343, last year. So him leaving Microsoft, no, that shouldn't concern us Xbox gamers because he's leaving the whole company, not just 343. That happens all the time in real life. There's a lot of people leave big companies. Maybe Halo Infinite, the Halo franchise, is in good hands with Pierre Hintz, however you pronounce his last name. So I'm not really surprised, man. We see this happen all the time. People leave all the time. Maybe I'm a little surprised that he's leaving the company completely, but I'm not surprised because it happens all the time. So,
and plus, here's what I think. I was adding a topic to it because I do see people talking about it. All right, is there a concern with him leaving? I don't think there's concern because I do think there is some friction. It's like I said on ILP last week because I feel like you can't go through the rough terrains that he went without feeling away. Maybe it's not much. Maybe he kept it completely professional. But the fact that he left Because when he didn't leave, you would think, okay, everything's good. They worked it out. But he's left like 3 or 4 months later. So I do think that there is a little bit of friction, but I don't think it's any way, shape, or form where they would never work together again. I just think it was one of those. I came out the bleachers. I tried to save Halo Infinite. I think he got burned a little bit, just a little bit, because, you know, even though that you really shouldn't put too much of the responsibility on him because he was coming in on an already engulfed ship, you can't get off that ship without getting burnt a little bit. Because, you know, Microsoft and these corporations in general, they, you know, they hold someone accountable. And the people that was accountable already left. So it was like, I do think that we're going to have a scenario where now that Joseph's gone, we might hear some more information going on to him. But I think at this point, he was there for like, 18 years or something like that. Like, look, this man worked for Microsoft for all these years. He tried to take one last hoorah with Halo again. It didn't work out. And the reason I don't think there's huge beef is because he went back to another division. I feel like if there was serious beef, there would not have been none of that. This man's a lifer, okay? I find it hard to believe he couldn't afford to take a couple weeks off and find another job. He went there willingly. And I think it was one of those things where he went there and, you know, it's like I said, there might be a little bit of tension because he couldn't do what he wanted to achieve doing. And I would say that some of the higher ups put a little bit of the blame on certain aspects to him, but I don't think it was enough to make him feel away. I think everyone knew what was going on, but at the end of the day, when the game launches, someone got to get some of the smoke. And I do think he got a little bit of it. And I think that's what probably resulted him in leaving in general, because he was like, look, I did what I did. I did everything I could do. I was told he had his hands tied behind his back a little bit during the development. So I think that's probably where some of the annoyance came from. And I think eventually he was just like, look, this is all I can do. And I think I'm ready to ride into the sunset. When you read his actual message, it kind of looks like he already found another place to go. It looked like he was poached.
Could be.
Once if this man shows up in Bungie.
That'd be funny. That'll be someplace he's familiar with. So
yeah, let me get these super chats real quick, because they might be related to what we're talking about. Then we'll get your opinions on it, man. So we got a $2 super chat from Ray. Redfall doesn't need a delay. Stop crying. We'll get to that. Ray. We got a $5 super chat from JD Gamer. Last gen, Quantum Break and Ryse got the whole resolution thing. Stop assuming the Xbox just needs to do whatever PlayStation does. They don't. All right. We're going to talk about Ryse and Quantum Break because I do think that's a relevant conversation we can have. But it's going to be later on in the show. Because you guys know I don't like these being long. Most of the time we don't go over an hour and a half unless we have like King on, because then King just talks and talks and talks. And, you know, he takes like 30 minutes by himself. But you guys know King's rants. They're amazing. $10 super chat from JD Gamer. I blame Staten for the lack of campaign content. He was brought in to specifically fix that. Odin provide new campaign content. We've gotten new multiplayer content, new modes, Forge, but no campaign. We don't know what's going on. For all you know, that might be one of the things that, you know, he might have left for, because he feels like they didn't do what he needed to get done to get it. Because sometimes what a game needs done doesn't necessarily mean what a game needs done to make money. Sometimes you can say what you want you can say what you want to your to your face turns blue. When you look at these, you know, top people at 343, at Microsoft, at Xbox, and they're like, okay, but when am I going to make money off this? Everything I just said isn't going to bring you money. But it will help Halo Infinite. And you know, a lot of people at Halo 343, some of the executives at Microsoft, I'm sure they're like, look, Halo Infinite's a duck. You know, it's best to cut and move on and make a new project, a new Halo game, obviously. But I wouldn't go as far as to putting 100% blame on Joseph Staten for that, because I do think there was probably circumstances that led to what happened with that. But Dirk, tell me what you think about Joseph Staten leaving.
Like I said, man, I think, we just don't know what's really happening behind the scenes. Did he leave because he was upset about something? We don't know. Did he leave because it was just time to move on? We don't know. Did he leave because he was approached by another company? We obviously don't know. So when you sit back and you think about it, man, you just wish him the best. You hope Halo is in good hands with Pierre Hintz. And that's it, man. That's all you can do. We see a lot of people leaving companies, going to different companies. A lot of people, retiring. So that's just part of life, not just the gaming industry. That's a part of life.
When like individuals got a $10 super chat from JD Gamer, no, I'm blaming him. Where's my campaign content? What type of leadership did he provide that allowed all the other things were made, but what he was brought into never even got started? I feel you on that. But what I will say is, like you said earlier, JD Gamer, a lot of the content you see on Halo Infinite's multiplayer. What is easily monetized? Multiplayer, single player, multiplayer. And I think that is probably why you're seeing more content in the multiplayer faction. Doesn't make it right. You should still get your single player campaign, single player content onto the campaign. I would have loved to it. It's looking like we may never see what happened to Atriox and, that ending cutscene from Halo Infinite. And that sucks. But at the end of the day, what am I going to do? I can sit here and tell you I'm not going to play Halo, the next Halo, but I'll probably be capping the moment that drop and I'm playing. It's sad because they got us by our passion, and to a point, there's nothing you can really do. You either put up or just shut up. And I'm not telling you to shut up, JD Gamer. I'm telling myself, I tell myself every time there's certain games out there. I'm like, look, I'm a hold strong with my wallet. And I go out here and you talk all this nonsense like I do. Oh, if they do this to Fable, I'm done with Microsoft. They can come out there and drop the complete bomb with Fable. And when that Elder Scrolls 6 drops, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. I ain't going to hold strong to anything. So I just shut up at this point because I know they got me by my passion. What am I do? I'm going to come up here and I'm a bitch. Because that's what I do. I'm a content creator. If I don't like something, I'm going to bitch about it. But at the end of the day, I can't even content create if I don't play the game. So I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't.
There you go.
$5 super from Artemis. I wondering why Redfall used that FPS boost tech to get 60 frames they used on the older games. We'll get to that here in a second. I guess we'll go ahead and get straight into this Quantum Break stuff. There's been a lot of talks about bringing Quantum Breaks back, not necessarily by anyone from the actual studios, but a lot of people want Quantum Break back for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's looking like Ryse and Rome has a lot of stuff going on with it. I don't know if you see what's going on, but every time Cryotech promotes a job, and if you look at their listings, it even says it doesn't say, it says a Ryse picture, but if you look at their listings, it says their other games, but it says an unannounced title as well. Okay, look, maybe I'm capping. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe they're for some reason promoting the one game that they don't really had any success with. Now look, Ryse was a fun game to a lot of people, but commercially, especially for a launch title, it didn't do the greatest it could have done. But I think every game deserves a sequel. I do. I think every game deserves a chance to correct the mistakes that the predecessor did. But with stuff like Quantum Break conversations happening again with Ryse, now I'm going to break this into two questions for you. One, would you want a Quantum Break 2 or a Ryse 2? Let me get this super chat real quick. JD Gamer with the $10 super chat. Redfall doesn't need to do anything other than be a great game. Let's worry about that first and not all the silly Sony-backed Xbox's trash narratives. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, JD. We're going to talk about it here in a minute. Stay around. We do got some stuff
JD Gamer, you got to subscribe to my channel, man. You like talking that shit.
Yeah, so go.
Ryse 2. I would want Ryse in a heartbeat. That would be an easy decision. Quantum Break was a solid game, but Ryse I just felt was so underrated. It was during that time where Xbox was getting so much hate. No way is Ryse Son of Rome a 60 Metacritic, bro. 6-0. No way. it was just getting so much hate because Xbox was getting so much hate at that time, and it was an Xbox exclusive. So I believe if that game, because I don't know if people realize that Ryse was initially a Connect game, and for whatever reason they made it a full-fledged game. But I'm pretty sure they only had a 2-year development cycle with Ryse to make it what it became, and it's incredible, bro. Yeah, it was a Connect game. So I just feel that Ryse 2 would be incredible. That game to me impressed me so much. Yes, people say it's repetitive. Every game is repetitive, damn it. So it was just the story was good, the graphics was absolutely amazing. That game still is pretty good to this day. Ryse 2 would be the game that I would
at my
want.
door. Keep talking about go to Quantum Break now.
Yeah, Quantum Break. I enjoy Quantum Break, but to be honest, I would prefer Ryse. I've been playing Quantum Break recently just for some gameplay footage on my YouTube channel, and it's a good game, man. It's a good game. But Ryse, that's what I want. No doubt about it. I get the super chat sent you here. JD Gamer with the 2 Addict. What do you really know about Ryse 2? You on mute, bro. Addict, you on mute.
I can't go into that, JD. I can't go into that, man. See, I don't talk about, I don't quote unquote leak stuff. But if it gets like sometimes I kid you not, I've talked to people that tell me stuff and they're like, yo, don't tell anybody. Then I see a video pop up on YouTube. And then if I start seeing like Rand, Diller, all of them making videos, I'm hitting my dude up like, dude, can I make one? Like everyone else is eating, why can't I eat?
Right. Listen, Ryse, if they show Ryse 2, if Ryse 2 is announced, I don't know, this year or even next year, that will be they will have to end the show with that. They will have to end the show with Ryse because that's a game that most Xbox fans want.
Here's my question to you, though, Dirt. Do you think Xbox should back that truck up and get Ryse as an exclusive?
Absolutely, but if they
Me
can't,
and King argued about this. He don't think it's necessary. He don't think they should invest into properties that they don't own. I get that. I understand why they do what they do now with buying studios, but to me, this is an exception. This isn't one of those, this isn't an IP that could. I just personally feel like if you leave that out in the wild too much, sure, it might mature and come out for everybody. But there's always that chance at the last minute Sony pops through and they snatch that. And to me, how bad would it look if this year at PlayStation's conference, Ryse shows up opening that show and it's a PlayStation exclusive?
I agree. See, let me tell you this. Alan Wake was a game, right? Remember, was it 2018 or early 2019 when Xbox gave Alan Wake back to Remedy? Mm-hmm. And the conversation was, oh, snap, it's going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. That's what everybody was saying because they gave the IP back to Remedy. Even me, I was like, oh, man, it's going to be so terrible if PlayStation gets Alan Wake 2 as an exclusive. Obviously, it's a multi-plat. Okay, fine. But just that point right there just scared me. Like, oh, if PlayStation gets Alan Wake 2 as an exclusive. So I agree with you. If Ryse 2 is the thing, it should 100% be an Xbox exclusive because it was originally an Xbox exclusive. We heard rumblings back in the day that Crytek and Microsoft kind of got into it over the Ryse IP. I don't know if Xbox wanted to make a sequel, if they wanted to buy the IP, but Crytek didn't want them to buy it, and they kind of got into a little beef. That's what I heard. Don't know how true that is, but Ryse 2 should be an Xbox exclusive.
I understand that they wouldn't have no control over the Ryse, but I think it's mainly just me looking at it from like a perception. How good would it be if they ended this conference this year with a Ryse sequel?
Oh, that would be amazing,
out this year, and it's an Xbox exclusive. Like
that would be incredible.
Dude, it would take over the internet. It would take over the internet. But you know what's crazy? There is a realm where it didn't happen with one game because it's already been announced as multi-plat. But we saw with Tomb Raider, just because it's announced something don't mean nothing. If there's a realm where Sunset Overdrive 2, Ryse Center Run 2, and Alan Wake 2, all Xbox originated games could be on a PlayStation platform exclusively. Just, it's not, the Sunset Overdrive 2, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. PlayStation's eventually going to trigger that. There's no way they don't. They the king of petty. They will spend a couple $100 million just to be petty. Easy. I know they would. So I think that's just my thing. It's like, I would love for them to open up the gates, get that game, man. I think Ryse would be, especially if it's a good Ryse, man. Like, Ryse Son of Rome 2 might not have been the greatest Xbox exclusive, but I do think it gauged the most interest. And out of all the stuff that happened on the Xbox One, I do think it has the most potential to really go out there and be great.
Yep, I agree.
And
Ryse and Recore.
Yeah, I think Recore too, but at this point, I think Recore is just a dream. It is. I think it's just a dream. We got to find.
I believe Ryse would be something before Recore.
Yeah, I know. I think Recore would be made before Ryse. Because they own Recore. I think it would be easier to find a studio to make Recore than it would be.
That's a good point.
To negotiate with Cryotech. It'd just be interesting, man. And I think people don't realize. Sure, we might not see that, but I think optically and the internet would take that very well. I can already see the articles. Xbox making some things on the Xbox One generation right. You know, like giving games that we've been saying for years a sequel. Like, I get King's point. King's like, look, they don't own it. They're not going to invest. If they own it, then they would invest. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, this is Ryse we're talking about. Like, this isn't... I think that's where maybe just because I enjoyed the game, and it's been years since I played it, maybe I should stop capping a game I haven't played since like 2015, 14.
It's a good game, bro.
Maybe I should go back and play it. But, you know, I remember getting the Xbox One, and Ryse was the first game I had. And I remember me and my friend John staying up all night and playing it. It was we want something like Ryse for the Xbox Series X. And you know what would be crazy? If Ryse Son of Rome 2 was the game we're looking for if they made it's just crazy that you look at something like Star Wars Old Republic. Huge for the original Xbox. PlayStation exclusive.
There you go.
And it's just like games like that, I know in the grand scheme of things it's irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. But I do think enough of these situations that keep happening, you're going to start seeing people like, yo, I noticed that. Yo, I noticed that. And I think that's the biggest issue we're having right now is I feel like some of these games, people aren't thinking it's a big deal, but it is. Because when you consistently see these titles going to the competition, and imagine what if as an Xbox consumer, they're like, look, why should I invest into an Xbox when I invested in an Xbox One? And somehow all the games that I was intrigued by got sequels on the PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I thought you just had the perfect example of KOTOR. Like you just said, KOTOR, that was an original Xbox game. Now the sequel is on an exclusive for the PlayStation. So why shouldn't Ryse Son of Rome 2 be exclusive? You're absolutely right.
And I get they could easily go for we're going to get Ryse Son of Rome in Game Pass. And I think that would be relevant. That would be a pretty big move. But I am getting a little bit annoyed. I don't know about you, Dirt. I think we've talked about this and you disagree with me. I am getting a little bit annoyed by the willingness to go out there and secure a game for Game Pass, but not the willingness to get at least 1 or 2 timed exclusives, especially when you need them. Like when you really need them, like 2022. Yeah. Like that's when Microsoft should have opened up, cracked that that piggy bank and said, yo, we need this game because we need this game. Like there ain't nothing to play in 2023 too for the most part. We need this because we need a library this holiday. But it just seems like instead of doing that, they're okay with, we're going to give you games in Game Pass to keep you. And then look, I've said it over and over again. It's hard to bitch when you have stuff to play. When you're consistently updating Game Pass with pretty solid IPs going into the service, it's hard to bitch when you have access to these titles because you're doing something. But I do think we got into the point where It's not enough. Look, Game Pass is a good tool. Game Pass is a good subscription service. But me, personally, I feel like it needs to be sprinkled in with a timed exclusive or two every now and then. You don't got to do what you used to do, Microsoft. You own enough studios to cover the majority of the stuff. But if you see someone making a new IP that looks interesting, that looks innovative, go in there and sprinkle some money and get that. Because you know what? That might be your BioShock that throws you into the next thing next gen. That might be your Titanfall that throws you thing. Imagine if Microsoft didn't get none of these games. Where would they be right now?
True. But let's be fair. There were a couple of games last year that were timed exclusives. Might not have been your type of games, but they were timed exclusives. You know, High on Life, that's one.
That was a good game.
Nice original.
I still ain't played it, but I will concede to that one.
Yeah, I finished it. It was a great game. Now, the other one I actually didn't really care for was Scorn. That was I don't really care for it, but it was a timed exclusive. But I see what you're saying. You mean like more bigger AAA timed exclusive. I understand what you're saying.
I think my issue is you're doing something when your competition has no problem doing it a bunch.
Yeah.
Like they try to get Starfield. Imagine there's a round where Starfield would have been exclusive to PlayStation. Mm-hmm. You know, I get it. They bought the whole company, so they just naturally got Starfield. And I'm cool with that. But sometimes it makes more sense to go in there and just pluck a piece off the board than it is to buy the board. Now, you could buy multiple boards, but there's some boards that can't be bought that you could just pluck a piece off of and it's just as good.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think Microsoft's vision is not worth it. Like a big AAA third-party exclusive, I think they would rather have it in Game Pass than to, you know, say...
Well, if they got it as a timed exclusive, it would be in Game Pass too. It would be in Game Pass too.
Yeah, true, but that also would be more money also. But I think their first party is more important. Like King said, their first party is more important. So I understand where they're coming from because, you know, timed exclusives have hurt them in the past. But I see where you're coming from also. Where, you know, sometimes if you know it's going to be slow, sign a timed exclusive. But maybe their future, they're thinking like they're never going to be slow after 2023. They're going to have constant content dropping, you know.
Maybe that's what it is too. Maybe they know, look, things going to be rough now, but we know what's coming. And we know we got an army. They just slow. They got tanks to crawl around. They got to take around helicopters. They just slow. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's possible, bro. Like, they're like, yo, listen, we got our developers cooking up some stuff. They're going to be ready and they're going to be consistent. One AAA game every quarter, a couple of, you know, AA games in there, and they might have so much content that they feel they don't need any more timed exclusives. That's my opinion. I could obviously be wrong. So,
all right, so let's get these super chats and go on to the main event of the evening. I see people in the chat. They still trying to get that Redfall content. You about to get it. Calm down. The Angry Therapist with the $5 super chat, that was dope. Just with they had more weapons to use in that game. I think he's talking about Quantum Break. I don't know.
I think he's talking about Ryse.
Ryse? Yeah. It's hard to tell. You could be talking about either one of them, to be honest with you, both of them. I didn't play a whole lot of Quantum Break because I dropped it, but I can understand. $5 super chat from JD Gamer. Microsoft is acquiring Crytek. I called it. You heard it here first, folks. They're getting that IP and the Cryo engine. That would be cool. That would shut me up. I think that Ryse is a very important title, and you know, if the studio is willing to be bought and Microsoft has like really evaluated if they can get anything from that purchase and it actually turns fruit, then I would say do it. You know, but because they do got some games as a service, the Cryo engine has been updated. I don't know how well. We have to see that with if they make a Ryse 2, but I do think Ryse will be announced this year sometimes. I really do. Because they're getting very extra with announcing that. They're getting very extra with that.
Nice.
We got a $5 super chat from Gamer by Choice. We need to understand that Microsoft does not have the same view of games like we do. They're not attached to them as much as we moneymakers. We are the moneymakers. I get it.
They are moneymakers.
But the people, some of the people running the studio, they're definitely gamers. But I understand what you're saying from that. They're looking at from a pure money wise. Is Ryse going to bring in the money to justify the cost in getting it? $5 super chat from JD Gamer. Quantum Break would be wonderful, and if they actually delivered the game that was originally envisioned. See, I have to get close. They were both the TV show and the games are intertwined.
Yeah.
$5 super chat from Dave Ramos. Replaying Quantum Break, the blended medium is fantastic. Way ahead of its time. And then $2 super chat from THX1138. We need Quantum Break on Series X with an FPS boost. And then we got the Angry Therapist. Sorry, I was talking about Ryse. Man, you didn't need a super chat that, man, but appreciate it. All right, let's
Angry Therapist, what's up, bro?
Yeah, let's get into it, man. 53 minutes. I'm going to 53 minutes. Give this to the Timestamp Mafia. We'll get it 40 seconds.
Let me get the super chat while you JD Gamer with the 10. One more prediction, folks. Addict do a poll on this. Microsoft is going to acquire Platinum Games, and they're going to finish Scalebound and deliver to us an E3 of our dreams. Scalebound, Ryse 2, and Quantum Break. Shit, that's a lot. I don't know if Microsoft want to rock out with Platinum, bro.
Man, I know. Diversion, 5 minutes. Platinum Games is worth the purchase. But there's a but. They got to make sure that they ain't making 50,000 projects.
Right.
It's got to be one to two. Make the A and the B team call it a day. We ain't working on whatever Activision wants them to work on, because I do think that you could easily say that when it comes to the core of Platinum Games, they've never made a bad game. Now, when you go off on the Avatar things, I liked Avatar, but I get why people don't like that.
What about Babylon Falls?
But I feel like that was I feel like that wasn't the core of Platinum. I feel like the core Platinum is that vein of the Nier Automatas, the vein of Bayonetta. I feel like that's their core. That's their bread and butter. And when they make a game in that vein, it's always hitting out the park.
I got you.
And Microsoft could really use a studio like that. They really could. All right, let's get into Redfall.
All right.
Redfall. Today was announced that Redfall is a 30 frames game. It's not a 60. Now, obviously, eventually they're going to do a patch to make this game a 60 frames game, but we've seen in the past where sometimes those patches can take up to a month, or 3 to 6 to even a year. I doubt it's going to take on the longer end side. Probably take about 3 months. Hopefully. This is one of the biggest drops that I think Microsoft has done in a couple months. Like, first off, I want to address Kid Smooth. He went out there kind of insinuating that people were holding information that went into these previews. I know people that went to these previews. I don't think that was asked to the people I know. Because I just don't think that. But someone had to have asked that question. I find it hard to believe that no one asked that question the entire event.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone asked that question. Maybe someone did. But, even if they did ask that question and the Bethesda hit them with an NDA on it, or just PR talk to work, I think you guys need to realize that talking with these companies sometimes can be a lots of PR things where you have to word things certain ways. It's the bad of the industry, but from what I've seen on Bethesda, they're usually more transparent than that. I think maybe this is one of those things where maybe they expected to get it done, but something happened and they couldn't finish it, because they've been very open with that. And the fact that they haven't said anything makes me think that maybe this is something that happened recently. It's not like they always intended on it not being there. Maybe they just couldn't get it working at launch. But regardless if they couldn't get it working at launch, it's unacceptable it's not there at launch. What do you think, Dirt? I got to eat something to drink.
Yeah, let's go. Listen, I got to be honest, guys. When I saw that news, I was like, Ah, damn it. I was let down by that because Redfall is a game I'm still hyped for, and I do believe it should have a 60 frames per second option. In my eyes, I just think this means like the game needed a little bit more time. And they didn't want to delay it again. You know, in today's gaming, a lot of a lot of teams, developers, they'll post, you know, they have post-launch stuff that come out a month or two later, adding extra things. But I gotta be honest, guys, this game should have 60 FPS at launch. It's okay to criticize Xbox, guys. If you're an Xbox fan, it's okay. Now, I'm not about to go above and beyond and doom and gloom like some people, but yeah, man, it was a huge letdown. It's a huge letdown, man. And I'm not sure I want to play an FPS at 30 in 2023. I love Arcane. I love like Redfall looks incredible to me. I'm going to see how it plays initially, and hopefully they bring out that patch ASAP. And I'm sure that's their focus. Seeing this backlash, I hope, I don't know if they get some people from some other teams to help them out to try to get this 60 FPS at launch. I think that's really important, man.
I bet you $20 they're having emergency meetings right now on how to handle it.
Hey, yo, Chris Hart, I know this isn't my channel. But
are we sure it's the real Chris Hart?
Yeah, this is him. I can tell.
Will the real Chris Hart please stand up?
Hey, boy, I'm telling you, boy, you be lucky this ain't my channel. Because you acting like Jim Ryan just didn't go out there and throw all the PlayStation first party studios up on the bus. This little Redfall news, y'all got y'all pigeon chest sticking out like y'all really doing something.
Podcast. Where were you, Chris?
He wasn't saying nothing. He disappeared. But now we're talking about Redfall. You got your little punk chest sticking out like you're really doing something. See, that's what I hate about you PlayStation guys. I hate you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Look, I think this is unacceptable. I will be playing this on PC if it is 30 frames. Mm-hmm. I just, at this point, Dirt, I'm not playing 30. It's just not happening. Like, it would be different if it was like a one-off thing. You know, when play thing happened, playing that on. I didn't play that. And to me, as long as I have an option, which is called PC, to play it on, I'm okay with having that option. But it doesn't excuse it. It doesn't excuse the fact that they really thought it was a good idea to come out here in 2023 with as much power talk. You know, love Aaron Greenberg to death. Love him to death. But, man, you said a couple years ago that 60 was the standard and 120 would be the exceptions.
Yeah.
Where's that energy, Aaron? I need that energy. Someone needs to save me because I'm struggling. I'm struggling right now. I'm hoping and praying that they're talking to each other and they're like, look, we didn't realize that backlash we was going to get for this. Can we pool more resources and get this done in 2 weeks?
That's what I'm hoping, bro.
I'm hoping, but everything in me is like, that is a fantasy. Don't think that.
And let me tell you something, Addict. You know, last gen, you know, like most games were 30 last gen. So it wasn't until this generation that I really felt the 60 FPS, bro. Like, I really didn't, because I'm not a PC gamer, so I really didn't feel it last generation, the 60 FPS. But I'm going to tell you the game specifically when they added a 60 FPS mode in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I felt it, bro. I said, I can't go back to 30. I feel this. And most games are 60 FPS on console. Like I said, I'm not a PC gamer. And when you have an FPS, it should definitely be 60 at launch, bro. I cannot damage control this. I cannot fanboy it. I hope, like you said, Addict, I hope they're trying to get some resources. Hey, yo, Coalition, give this guy some help. Arcane, Leon, give those guys some help. We need to get this game at 60 FPS at launch. If they have to delay it for a week, so be it. I do want the game to be 60 FPS.
All right, let me make sure I get all the super chats before I get to him. Cause JD going, man. JD going. Man, they you guys have been mad good this week, man. Bone and Slave announcing with the $5 announcing Redfall has a 60 patch, is admitting the game is unfinished and won't hit expectations at launch. I agree with you on that.
I think the game still be good though.
$2 per share from THX1138. I bought a Series X for 60 frames as standard. Yet, and to be honest with you, Aaron Greenberg said it's standard. So to me, everyone has every right to be upset. But I will agree with JD and Dirt that it's 30 frames, but it's not going to mean it's a bad game. It just means it's not going to run as good as it could have ran. Mm-hmm. We got a $10 super chat from JD Gamer. Stop with these move the goalpost narratives. We need a great game. And anyone talking about how they can't play 30 frames, they better not even be playing a Nintendo game saying it's great on PS first party. You got me a little bit there, JD. Gamer, man. You got me a little bit there. Here's the thing, though. Okay, I'm gonna defend myself a little bit, JD. I gotta play those games on the Nintendo as that fidelity. I don't have to play these consoles as that. I can play it on PC. And I think that Microsoft doing these things and giving options to play these games on PC, but you could play the PC form on a far better frame rate, is kind of a slap in the face. It really is. Like, because you could play. I don't mind saying PC place is the best place to play. But I do think Xbox is here right now. PC's here. We need that to be elevated in a little bit shorter of a gap. You know, I get it. I do. There's a lot of things going on, but one thing I will say is JD, like, Patty, I'm in a podcast. One thing I will say is I do feel we do need to stop with us moving goalpost things. We're just upset we're not getting to play this game at the best, performance we can. Like, I feel like if you don't now, like JD, 30 frames might not be an issue to you. More power to you. I think that is a fair assumption, a fair point to say, yo, you guys are bugging. 30 frames don't bother me. I'm still playing. I rock with you with that statement. But I do think it's kind of crazy for you to tell me that I can't say 30 frames is ridiculous, because I'm not telling you about your 30 frames and you're willing to play that. And I think I played Destiny on PC, and I think this is when the frame rates matter to me, JD. Let's talk. Let's story time with Addict right now. I was playing Destiny on consoles for years. Never had an issue. Always one of those people said, I don't understand how people notice the frame rate difference. This is kind of ridiculous. Years I was like this. But then I played Destiny on PC. Got a PC built just to play Destiny. Played it on 60 frames at like 720p because my PC was trash. Guess what happened? My whole mindset process was done. I actually feel like frame rates is extremely important, but you know what I think something that people don't consider is the field of view. I feel like that is just as important as the frame rates itself, because it makes the game feel quicker than it is. Well, maybe it makes the game feel as quick as it was supposed to be from the start. So I think that's my biggest issue. Is like, people aren't. I can understand people playing at 30 frames, but like, JD, let me eat two. Let me eat two. If I have an issue with not playing a game at 30 frames, who is that bothering, JD? It ain't bothering you. It's bothering me. But I get what you guys are saying. I do think that there's a difference between the people that generally wanted to play this at 60 frames and the people that are using this as a clutch and a tool to attack the other fan base. All right, so I read that. Yeah, sorry, guys, I went on a little rant there. We got a $2 subscription from Bone Slave at 30 frames. Redfall better look amazing. Yeah, once again, I think it will. I've seen a couple of those fidelity modes, those graphical modes. They look really good at 30 frames. It's just me personally, I can't play the 30 frames. And at least I'm just being real with you guys. We got a $2 shooter chat from Ordinary. Thoughts on Starfield if it's 30 frames? PC, my dude. PC. What do you think? Do you have a PC to play games like that?
No. I was thinking about getting something this summer. Because I got like a basic PC, for podcasting and stuff. I was thinking about getting like a little gaming PC, nothing too expensive, but just something, But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
$5 super chat from JD Gamer. I want party. Let me make sure. Yeah,
Parody.
I want parity of criticism between all the consoles, and if we don't do that, what are we doing? Now, no, I'm not. I'm out. I'm out here collecting receipts. We need to be fair. I agree with you. I feel like even myself, I don't really put Nintendo to the fire like that, and I think I'm falling into the line where a lot of people's falling, where we just assume that's Nintendo at this point. You're right. Like, we need to be harder on Nintendo. But to be fair, if you look at all my reviews, I always say the performance is dog shit every single time. Every review I've ever done with Nintendo almost, I've been very vocal about that. Play this on PC when it comes out for PC. I've always been vocal on that. But at the same time, when it comes to Redfall, Starfield, we have other alternative places to playing that's not 30 frames. And I think that's why they get a little bit less smoke, because you do have those alternative ways of playing it. You got anything to say about that? I know you love Nintendo.
No, like I said, bro, everything is fair. All the criticism is fair. They deserve the criticism. Definitely should be an option, bro. The option should be there at launch, flat out.
Yeah, and I think that's it too, JD. Like, the other consoles don't put power on their chest as much as Xbox. Like, you got, like I said, Aaron Greenberg saying that 60 is going to be the standard. So people assume that. Like, I have to take what the head of marketing says for the literal sense. And I think that's where the disconnect is with the other consoles. Like, I'm not saying don't give the other consoles smoke. Give PlayStation smoke, give Nintendo smoke. We give them all smoke, but I will admit that I am a little bit more, like, accepting when Nintendo does it. And I need to be better on that. I need to put them to the fire too. But I think at this point, I've seen the landscaping of trying to reach Nintendo's thick skull, and it doesn't seem to ever work. So I think that's what it is. It's like I said earlier, like, they got us by our hobby. They know we're gamers, and especially content creators. It's hard to really stand on a square, because it's either we don't cover the game and we get caught a fraud for commenting on the game, or we comment on the game and we get caught a fraud for not saying everything about the game. So it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to go through. $10 super chat from the Lord Star Killer. Like that game, man. Like that game. Isn't that what? No. Someone put in the chat what the dude from Unleashed. What was his nickname? I think it was Star Killer. I don't know. Someone put in the chat though. I'm gonna be looking in a second. $10 super chat from Lord Star Killer. Arcane really dropped the ball. Quality mode should be 60 frames on the Xbox Series X and S. 120 frames should be the performance mode. I want to see much more of this full RDNA 2 features of the Xbox exclusive ASAP. I would have said never would have talked about that RDNA 2, because I feel like to this day I still hear about that. You know what's crazy? When you got PlayStation fanboys coming out there saying crazy statements like 4 teraflops of Titans, and then they're over there saying, it's just crazy how the board switches. It's crazy, man.
Well, hey, like, don't forget the guy that said the Xbox Cloud is as powerful as 4 Titans. He's on the PlayStation side.
That's what I'm saying. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. Oh, I remember it. You want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead and say it.
Man, his name was Iron Wolf, but he changed his name. His name is
what
Ronan,
it is. A lot of things that people don't realize. I think some of you realize. A lot of people do this stuff because it's easier money. There is a huge amount of people that is willing to spend money to talk shit about Xbox, and I've seen it. Yeah, and it is what it is. I try to keep my stuff a little bit away from the console war stuff. Sometimes I like dabbling my foot in it, but it just depends on what's going on, man. It depends on what's going on. Yeah. Got a $5 super chat from Gamer by Choice. I can't tell the difference between 30 and 60 unless Digital Foundry tells me. I do not want to tell others how to consume their games. I can't tell. I feel you, Gamer by Choice. Here's the thing.
I used to be like that.
Play a game at 30, but I really want to emphasize and really want to like put a spotlight in. Turn that. Don't mess with the field of view. and play it at 30. And then max out your field of view or put it at 90. Some people like it at 90. And put the field of view to 90 or above that, and then put it to 60. I think you'll feel more of a difference in then. Because if you play Destiny at 60 and the field of view, it's way more... you just feel faster. You feel like the game's faster, your character's faster. And the reason it is because they've panned your screen back. So you see more of your screen. So it's soon you're really realistically going the same speed you were, but you're seeing more of it, so it looks like you're faster. Let me see.
Oh, you got a member chat.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I can't keep eye. You guys have been way too kind today, man. You guys have been way too kind today. Gamer by Choice, the 40 member chat. I do not think Xbox realized that devs were not going to update their engines to take advantage of the benefits they put into the Series X. I agree with you on that. And to a point, they can't really do a whole lot of that because you can't put mandates on stuff to that degree because then you won't get whole games. $5 super chat from Nintendo Don Otaku. You Xbox dudes will try to shift blame to everyone else but won't take accountability for the console you're shilling for. Sad cases. I do it. I ain't gonna lie. Like sometimes, I think I throughout the years I've detached myself from the Xbox brand as much as I used to be invested into it. Now I just don't care. I really don't. 2 years, 3, 4 years ago, you would have told me I had to play Redfall on the PC to get the kind of performance I wanted to. Dirt, I would have bitched. I'd have bitched. But I just don't care anymore, man. $5 super chat from JD Gamer. I got a super powered SSD. Why am I still at 30 frames per second for Sony? First party games, it's this double standards that I'm calling out. Super powered SSD. Yeah, but we have called out PlayStation's SSD multiple times. You know, Ratchet and Clank is a 30 frame per second game, and I don't think it should be a 30 frame per second game. I remember that was 30 frames, right?
I don't remember.
Okay.
If it is, hey, let me double check.
Yeah, if
I
it
don't
is,
remember
it is
a lot of backlash.
It is what it is. But I think what it is, JD, is I think just people just want to play the games at the best possible thing. And look at something like Jedi. I played Jedi at 60 frames. I think that's the issue here. Is like we're not getting the option. You should have the
option for 60.
Option for 60 in any game. And I think that's the issue. We should have the option. Clearly, it's an issue because they went and they said that they were going to fix it in the future. Because people like me, I want that option. I never play anything in fidelity mode or quality mode or what the hell they call it. I always play it at performance. And I think there's a lot of people out there. I know some PlayStation people have no problem playing their game at 30 frames because they get that higher fidelity. But I don't care about none of that. I played Happy Wars for like 2 years. That's like a cartoon game. I don't care about none of that. I just want to play the game in the best performance because especially the games I like to play, the Dark Souls type of games, hardcore RPGs, heavy combat games. These games is when frames mean a lot and they can be relevant.
All right. You know what, Addict? You know what's weird? Let me say this right quick before we go. Deathloop had a 60 FPS mode.
And I played it at that.
Ghostwire Tokyo has a 60 FPS mode. I'm playing that now. So I wonder why Redfall doesn't have it, though.
I'm telling you, I think it was something that was originally supposed to be at launch, but something happened and got pushed back. Because I think that's another thing. People, they've not been very transparent with this. If they would have said 6 months ago that this was going to be 30 frames, I think people wouldn't be as hard on them. But they waited 2 weeks. So a lot of people already have their pre-order in. I think that's the biggest issue here. Regardless if that's true, if that's right or not, that's subjective. Because I do feel like they could do whatever they want till the game comes out. It's just they're the ones that's going to get the backlash. It's their brand. I can't tell them how to promote their brand. But in modern technology, being transparent is going to be way easier on you than not being transparent. Because look what happened today. They got literally cut by the ankles and drugged through the fire. But who knows?
Like you said, I hope they're like, yo, you know what? We have to get this to 60 in 2 weeks. Like you said, get some resources. Hey, we got to get this game in 60, man. Delay it for a week. You got to get a 60.
$2 super chat from John TJ. No excuse for a Redfall. Forza Motorsport 7 is 4K 60. All right, so I got a question for you. If they came up to you right now, Dirt, and they said, "Yo, we need a month. It's up to you. Do we delay Redfall a month for that 60 frames patch?"
Yes.
So, see, here's where I'm a little indifferent. Okay? Who am I to delay the game off of a preference that I'd like to play? But I do think it would make, on the grand scheme of things, it would be better for the brand. Because I think giving only, I don't know how many people, probably way more people play it at 30 frames than it's going to play it in performance mode. They got the numbers on this. Clearly, they felt confident enough to come out there and jump out the window this morning over it. But who am I to tell someone that they got to wait another month just because I didn't get to play the game I want to play, the way I want to play? I think that's a very back and forth conversation. I don't think that's a gray area.
Listen, we want the game to be at its best at launch, right? I mean, we want it to be at its best at launch. A 60 FPS option should be there at launch. You know, I'm not gonna fanboy this or damage control. It should be there at launch, flat out. You know, so that's all I'm saying. You know, it's not like with the Last of Us PC stuff, and guys were blaming the PC and not Naughty Dog and Iron Galaxy. You know, so you just got to be real with it. You know. Yeah,
I hear you. We got a $2 spirit trap for John TJ. No excuse for Redfall. Forza Motorsports is 7 is 4K 60. I don't really know much about like developing stuff like that, so I wouldn't know if that's impressive or not. Like I don't know how hard it is to develop a racer compared to something like Redfall. Like I think you would have to actually get a dev. I know a few devs. I think I'm going to start bringing in some devs and people with us, and I am in talks with like Colin Moriarty, bring him on here to like pick his brain. I know a lot of you don't like Colin, but I think Colin speaks his mind, and I respect that. Even Colin's one of those people, he will speak his mind even though he knows that the fan base he is talking to is building up a spirit bomb to hit him in the face with it. He'll still speak his mind. I like the people that don't mind the smoke you bring back to them. And he doesn't really mind that. And I like I said, I know some of you don't like Colin, and that's fine. But you know, it'd be one of those things where, you know, we'll have an engaging conversation with him. Because one thing I do know about Colin is he won't disrespect you just because he disagrees with you. And that's the people I want to bring on. People don't realize how hard it is to find reasonable PlayStation people. That their first thing is
not too many.
Yeah, because I've seen it. Colin will keep it PlayStation. He will keep it talking PlayStation. A lot of the PlayStation users that bring here, what are they going to do the first thing we talk about PlayStation? Dirt, from your experience, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to divert it to Xbox. The first thing they're going to do.
Even though Colin has been talking about Xbox a lot lately, though.
But he talks about Xbox.
Clips I've seen of him.
He's fair about it. If he brings up Xbox, it's relevant to the point. Like, I've seen people literally, you'll talk about something completely unrelated, and they'll bring up a completely unrelated thing about Xbox. We got a $2 super chat for Mac City ENT.
Yeah, Mac City Entertainment. That's the homie, man.
Mac City Entertainment. I appreciate you. In case you're new, Mac City, because I don't think I've ever read a super chat from you. I don't pronounce stuff very well, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's the homie, man.
No 60, no play. U.S. Xbox fans deserve better. Delay. I don't. Yeah. I just
and Mac City is a bot like me, man. But he's being honest. You know what I'm saying?
$2 super chat from JD Gamer. Great show, fellas. Gotta go date night. All catch replay. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I think what I'll do for you, is I'll put where we left off, just for JD Gamer, because he engaged a lot of the conversation today. So I'll put where we left off, just so he can come back and actually watch what we were doing. It's gonna be in the Redfall content, JD. Don't expect this treatment every week. I'm feeling very generous today.
Man, this chat is looking. This chat looking. There's so many ponies in here, man. Goodness. Like, man, we would snipe Chris Hart like several times already. He'll come back with a different account. Snipe.
Chris, the only thing that gets me is when you're disrespectful. I don't care. As long as you're respectful, you can say what you want. And what's funny is I worked in at Dish for 2 years. I could talk mad smack to you, and it sounds like I'm being nothing but respectful. It's crazy when you learn how to deal with angry people and you learn how to keep your composure of angry people. You'd be surprised on how savage you can be without saying nothing disrespectful.
No, Chris said some disrespectful stuff. He said, hey, game passes for poor people and blah, blah, blah. So, hey, Chris, man, I'm a mod over here. You better watch what you say to me.
Just time him out. Keep timing him out. He has some little thing with King. I can't block him because of King. King loves that dude. I don't really... Chris be a little bit too much. I see Fame. Fame, we about to end here soon. I'll send them your way. Got to represent. Got to show people some love, man. I send them your way. It depends on who's on. Because I send it to them all the time, but I'm pretty sure they're like the only people that's on at this time. Yeah. But anyway, I just think when it comes to this, we just want what's best. I think that's it, bro. I think we can all agree on that. There's a chance that this won't hurt Redfall at all, but there's a chance that if they had that performance mode and a lot of people were talking about it more in a positive way, there's a chance that we would have a way more perception, a way bigger day one for this game than it was. And I think that's the part that just irritates me. It's like, it just feels like no matter what happens, if Xbox can find a rake to step on, they're going to step on a rake. They could be in the middle of a giant desert. Got plenty of places to go left, plenty of places to go right. There'll be a big ass sign that says "Don't walk here." Plenty of rakes, and Microsoft's like, "We're gonna go that way." Like, and it's just like, I think that's the biggest issue I have. It's like, dude, you guys got this, man. You do so much good, and then you step on a rake, and it kind of hurts you. Like, yeah. I just want that to stop. Like, I feel like they have so much potential. Their studios can generate so much different type of games. You could do this. You just got to stop stepping on rakes. And sometimes they step on a rake, get hit in the face, and keep walking and step in another rake. Two dollars here from THX1138. Forspoken running 720p on PS5. Fanboy not talking. Yo, okay, first off, they weren't talking about the resolution because everyone else was dogpiling anything else Forspoken related. I honestly think that was the most talked about game this year by far.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm gonna tell you this though. I still feel Redfall is going to be a solid game, man.
I hope.
Arcane and great developers. Hopefully they get past the 60 FPS thing and get it ready for launch. I don't know if they can, but they should really try their best. And but I still think the game's going to be solid, man.
I got my own things with them, and it's nothing to do with Redfall. I want a Dishonored 3. And I need to stop like condemning everything that's not Dishonored, because I have a bad habit of doing that. Because I want Dishonored so bad. If it's not Dishonored, I'm like, catch me when it's Dishonored. I need to stop doing that. But man, I just want it so bad. Dishonored is such a good game. It's a Game Pass, guys. Go try it out. I think you guys would enjoy Dishonored.
I love both of them and the DLC.
I just think that the reason I want Redfall to succeed so bad is because I think if Redfall does really, really well, I might see Dishonored quicker. And then, who knows? Maybe seeing Redfall, maybe if Redfall's mad successful, they just never make a Dishonored. They just continue the Redfall franchise. That'd be disappointing. But the good thing is Deathloop is in the Dishonored universe. So yeah. I think we're going to see something Dishonored. I just don't know when. Because to me, if they wanted to cut off the Dishonored universe, they never would have made it part of Deathloop. They could have eased, because it was after the game came out that they confirmed that. So they didn't have to do none of that. They did that because they want to combine the two. And I think it would be cool after you break the loop, if man, what's the main character from Deathloop? I already forgot his name.
Colt Sucker.
Colt Sucker. Like, I think it would be cool if he joined Corvo and Emily.
Yeah.
Or you know what'd be crazy?
In the same universe. That's kind of weird. It's in the same universe.
They're in a loop.
Oh, that's right.
They're in a loop. They've been in a loop for years and years and years. You know, it'd be even
yeah, that's
cool
right. Yeah.
if they get back and Corvo's bad. Hit like the power of the outsider has just warped his mind, and now he's the antagonist.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, it just that's all I want. I want the industry to do better. I want everyone to do better. I'm playing Zelda, you know, I'm playing Starfield, I'm playing Spider-Man this year, playing everything. Yep. It's scary I'm playing everything, but I'm playing everything. But you
Are we playing Hellblade this year, Alex?
I think that's a next year game.
Next year? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason. It might be this year, but I feel like we still ain't got the info when Forza is, and I feel like they're probably going to hold on to Hellblade because they know they could just drop that at the beginning of next year. What's crazy is I don't know when Avowed's coming out either.
It's probably 2024, but you don't know when in the year, though.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. You know what I was thinking we should do? I saw Jeff Grubb. He was doing a Jeopardy game. It's like Jeopardy questions that you generate. And then we play the Jeopardy. The questions that maybe the community generate. And we answer them and they put the points on. Like we're playing Jeopardy, but it's with gaming questions. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be cool if you did that and you put like an E3. Like, you know, like the topics. So give me 300, Phil. Bill. What's his name?
Right.
Phil. And so I think it would be cool if you had an E3 topic and it would tell you a game and you have to guess what E3 was announced at. You know, obviously not every game was announced at E3. I know that. I know. Don't put that in the comment section. I know that. But I think it would be cool to have something like that. But anyway, let's go and start wrapping this up, man. Let's start wrapping this up. Yo, first off, we've been, let me put it in the timestamps. The outro is 1 hour and 29 minutes. All right, so first off, I want to appreciate everyone coming through. You know, you guys pulled up like you always do. We had 400, like 3 or 4 people in here this week. You know, first off, shout out to the people that pulled up in any way, shape, or form. Super chats, liking the show. First off, like the podcast, man. Let's get those likes up. Yeah, there's 340 people in here. We got 116 likes. I think we could do better than that.
Yeah.
Come on, get those likes up. Get those likes up.
Like I realized I didn't like it. I just like that.
Yeah, see, look, man, we can't be telling them to do it. You ain't doing it. Like, what kind of... You ain't putting a good example, man.
Yeah, man. What kind of stuff was that, Dirt?
Try to get better at promoting it. But, you know, first off, usually at the beginning of the show, every show now, we're doing like a Patreon thing where we just ask her some of the Patreon questions. Because YouTube's got a member thing to do this. As you can see when I read the member chats. So we're trying to balance it a little bit with the Patreon. So if you guys want to go over there, we react to anime. What's funny is Cog's about to react to metal music.
Oh wow!
Because he thinks Green Day is metal.
Oh no! Listen, I even know Green Day is not metal.
So he's gonna react to some metal. I don't know what metal yet. We'll probably let the Patreon and the members or something get those kind of questions. But it's gonna be interesting. You know, me and King, we react to a lot of anime. I know over there, I brought Solve in. He reacted to some Demon Slayer. So that's kind of content we're getting over there. You guys go over there. It's there's already, like, I reacted to all of Chainsaw Man. King's reacting to Attack on Titan season 2 right now. He did a couple episodes from season 1 because he watched a few of them on his own. We're gonna get season 2 probably up in the next couple weeks. I think I have till next month of content already scheduled for Patreon every week. But I appreciate everyone coming through. Dirt, where can the people find you at, man? I want you to spam that in the chat because I know I'm going to have to tell you right now.
Yeah, I know. You know, I'm on my phone. It takes longer to do it that way.
Well, you spam it once, I'll grab it, and I'll spam it the rest.
Okay, yeah, I just put it in there.
Go sub to Dirt.
Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm a pro Xbox channel. We talk a lot of trash. You know, being in this chat today, it was kind of weird seeing so many ponies because we have a pony-free zone over there. If you're a pony, you come up in there talking trash. Now, if you're a pony, you want to just chill, that's fine, man. You know, we do talk a lot of trash, I'm telling you guys. But if you want to come in and say, Xbox is dog shit, Xbox is trash, you will get sniped immediately.
Hey, we might... hold up. Watch your face reacting is an anime? You mean watching your face reaction? Yeah, to anime. That's what we're doing. King's doing it too. Everyone's doing it. Look, man, we might have a lot of PlayStation people in there. Sometimes they get loose, but I will say, for the most part, it's not like the toxic PlayStation community. They might go in there and say some jabs, but I've seen some actual PlayStation chat, and they're toxic as fuck. Like, so as crazy it is sometimes, I will say our chat, for the most part, is pretty chill. Like, for the most part. Sometimes they get a little crazy, but I will say our chat, for the most part, is pretty chill. But, you know, I want to thank everyone for coming through here. We took like 3 weeks off. You know, that's not Dirt. That was me. First week we went to PAX. Second week I was recovering from PAX. And third week I was moving. So it was just giant set of chain stuff. It's not generally like that, but I definitely appreciate it for coming through. Like Dirt said, go follow Dirt, man. Go follow him on Twitter. Go follow him on YouTube. Dirt does a very, very good show. He's very, very extra, and I think a lot of you like that extraness. So Dirt's the king of it. You know, Dirt is the king of the extraness. Go over there and follow him for that king content, because he be doing it. He be doing it a lot, and he be doing it good. And it's like he said, man. You know, if you want a pony free zone, because he really is.
Pony free zone. I mean that, bro. I'm tired of them guys.
You need a shirt.
Like this Knicks, like this guy like in here named Knicks. He would have got sniped so quick in my chat. He's been talking trash the whole podcast. You know, talking trash is fine, but we need a safe haven away from him, bro. You know,
you need a shirt that says Pony Freeze
so. Exactly.
So,
this violent Jack keep on spamming with all these emojis, bro.
Yeah, you know how it is, man. But we'll see you this week. We're gonna have our 300th episode of ILP. I'm gonna talk to Dirt about the logistics of it afterwards. I think he's gonna like what we have. Good. Yeah, what we have in mind. But you know, I appreciate everyone coming through. Like I said, go check out the Patreon. You know, become a member if you want. I would say Patreon's more dedicated to R&R with, you know, reactions and stuff like that. But we do give you a tier where every week on any show you can ask questions if that show's active that week. Now, if it's not active and if it's like gaming, let's say the Addict show is canceled this week and a couple of you ask questions, it would be moved to the ILP questions. But I appreciate everyone coming through. And until next time, this is Addict